We begin tonight with the school lunch and how very different they can be depending on what school you go to. With child poverty one of the central issues in this election, and both National and Labor setting significant targets for reducing it, the discussion often turns to how to measure it. The Child Poverty Monitor uses an index of material hardship or deprivation developed for the Ministry of Social Development. Food in both quality and quantity is a key measure. 5 years ago, almost to the day, the Campbell Live Current Affairs program conducted a very simple social experiment. Go to a decile 1 school and go to a decile 10 school and ask to see what the children are having for lunch. No warning, so parents can't alter reality. No child identified, so no one is embarrassed by their circumstance. What the program found was a difference so striking it contributed to the growth of food in schools programs, Kids Can, the Fonterra Breakfast Club and so on. 5 years on, what's changed? You can watch the story right now online on Facebook on Freeview Channel 50 and on Sky TV Channel 83. Zac Fleming and our cameraman Bradley White went to a decile 1 school, but first to a decile 10 school, where lunch looked really great.
Now it's lunchtime and I'm hungry again. I don't know where I should begin.
These are lunches for learning. Filled croissant, banana, peaches, plus some wafers and home baking as treats.
It's 10 to 10 in the morning and we're at a decile 10 primary school in central Auckland. We can't tell you specifically what one, but the parents of these children had no idea we were coming this morning. They didn't have an opportunity to pack them a special lunch or give them breakfast just for show. But even still, all 19 of the children in this classroom had breakfast.
And all 19 have a packed lunch from home. An apple, yogurt, sandwiches, muesli bar, snack biscuits, some cheese. This is only a Year 1 student's lunch, but at 25 years old, I'd be content eating it. All but 4 of the 19 had fresh fruit.
Eat it, don't you make me repeat it. Have a banana, have a whole bunch. It doesn't matter what you had for lunch, just eat it.
Any empty desk here is simply because some children aren't at school today. Remember, every child in this classroom ate breakfast today and had a nutritious lunch. Then we drove 20 minutes south to Kingsford Primary School in Mangere. It's a decile 1 school and we're in a conjoint Year 5 and 6 classroom. 26 children will learn here today.
But on 15 of the desks, more than half,
Where there should be food, there is instead nothing. And for some of the children in this class, lunch today consists of just a single cookie or a lone bag of chips. Being in this classroom, the difference between a decile 1 and 10 is startling. It almost leaves you speechless. On this group of desks, 6 children sit here, but only one of them brought food today.
this child's morning tea and lunch is a single bag of chips. Over here, chips and biscuits. Out of 26 children, just 4 have an actual lunchbox that's full.
And you'll remember at the decile 10 school, 4/5 of the classroom brought fresh fruit. In this classroom, these 2 lunchboxes out of the total 26 are the only ones that brought fruit today.
Principal of Kingsford Primary, Chris Williams, says this is reality.
That's normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill, that's same every day.
He says it's obvious which kids have eaten.
You can see it in the children's behaviour. When you're hungry, you play up, you become more irritable, and it's the same with children. They're a lot more short-tempered. Squabbles can break out over virtually nothing.
If you've woken up in the morning and still not had anything to eat by the time you get to school, you're going to be feeling tired, you're not going to have enough energy, you're not going to be able to pay attention in class, and plus the critical pathways for your brain development are not going to be occurring.
That's Anna Sloan, a paediatric dietitian with more than 20 years experience, both public and private in New Zealand and in the UK. I asked her what would happen if a child only had a small bag of chips in their lunchbox.
It would be better than nothing, but it's certainly not going to be giving your body and brain the nutrients that it needs to develop and retain what you're learning.
Miss Sloan understands better than most what a poor diet can do to children. Through her public health work, she's seen the worst.
By the time children come to see me, they're in the medical system, they've had faltering growth, they've had failure to thrive, or they've got definite nutritional deficiencies. So by the time they come and see me, they're actually pretty bad.
And the cause?
it's always money, it's always poverty.
Kingsford Primary Principal Chris Williams says he believes poverty in New Zealand is being swept under the carpet. But what about the National Party's recent commitment to lift 100,000 children out of poverty in the next 3 years?
I find it hard to believe, given that they've been in power for so long and so little's been done.
We put that to Bill English. His reply:
he will be dealing on the front line with some quite complex issues with those kids, and we respect the commitment that the schools make to lifting the achievement of these kids, and they're doing a great job in that. So achievement among, if you say, let's say, Pacific kids, where 4 or 5 years ago just over half them were getting NCA level 2, now it's much closer to 3/4, in some schools 80%. And that means they're getting, thousands more of them are getting to the start line for jobs or further training. Now, with respect to their family situation, this is why the family package we've legislated, which will come in the 1st of April, will be quite significant for those families, because they'll get, if they're on the average wage, $20 a week lower tax, higher child payments, and in particular, where rents have gone up, as they have done in South Auckland, they could be getting up over $100 a week assistance if they have a low income and high rents. And we want to see those families benefit from what's been a strong economy. Government's got a good bank balance, so we're able to spread the benefits around.
In 2015, Parliament narrowly rejected a members' bill proposing free breakfasts and lunches at all decile 1 and 2 schools. The vote was 61 to 59, National Act and United Future casting the opposing votes. So what is being done to help? The Kickstart Breakfast Programme, a partnership between Fonterra Sanitarium and the government, gives Weet-Bix and milk to around 25,000 children across more than 900 schools every week. The government-funded Fruit in Schools programme gives a piece of fruit free to more than 100,000 kids a day. And charity Kids Can, which is funded through private donations, business and the government, feeds nearly 30,000 children across nearly 700 decile 1 to 4 schools each week, as well as helping with other things, shoes, raincoats, and basics like toothbrushes and tampons.
So we give the school a supply of food. We also have 100,000 loaves of bread that go out, and that supply of food is used for breakfast and also for lunch as well. There's bread, there's muesli bars, there's scroggin mix, fruit pottles, yoghurt, and in the winter, hot meals as well.
All sounds great, but Kids Can CEO Julie Chapman estimates there are still more than 20,000 children going to school without lunch every week. The charity has a 30-school strong waitlist, including Kingsford Primary, who are near the bottom of that list. Why can't Kids Can respond immediately? Money.
We think that it'll cost us, we could run a program that would give a range of nutritious items to children for about $4.5 million a year.
That's $4.5 million on top of current private sponsorships and government funding.
So in the great scheme of things, not a lot really.
Statistics NZ estimates there are currently 3.5 million people over the age of 20 in New Zealand. It'd take just $1.30 a year from each of them then, according to Ms Chapman, to make sure no child in New Zealand goes to school without lunch.
Children need food, and we know that when we put food into a school, there's an instant result in increased learning, children being happier, reduced fighting and bullying.
But it's not just about health improvements, remember. Here's Anna Sloan again.
Recent research shows that increased eating frequency through the day actually can lead to a lower BMI, so a reduced risk of obesity. An iron deficiency makes a child fatigued, it makes them unable to retain what they've learned, it affects their growth, and B vitamin can present as inability to pay attention, can also present as lack of developmental growth as well.
That's a dietitian, and at the chalk face, what does the principal say?
They need to be the best that they can be. They've only got one shot at education, and we need to provide them with the best education possible so that they can get out of the cycle, so that they can go to university and, become the best person they can be.
For Checkpoint, Zac Fleming.
Now, Kingsford Primary School's principal, Chris Williams, you just heard him talking then, says if children tell their teacher they're hungry and have no lunch, they can make sandwiches in the staff room. But school after school we've spoken to tell us children are often too shy to say they're hungry. Julie Chapman from KidsCan told us this afternoon the charity is due more government funding later this month, and she hopes to be able to clear more schools from the waiting list, including Kingsford Primary, before the end of this year.